Greetings. My name is Stuart Mars, percussion teacher at the University of Maine, and I am delighted to be able to share with you some preparation tips and demo performances for the 2020 Maine All-State Percussion Auditions. There are 4 videos in this set: the tenor solo number 4 that everyone prepares, and separate videos for the Whaley Etudes for snare drum, timpani, and mallets. I hope you find them useful in preparing for your audition, and if you need to contact me with any questions, my contact information is below in the description section. In the meanwhile, best of luck and happy practicing. Intonation. It is extremely important to ensure your timpani are well tuned. There are a couple of ways to check this, some more challenging than others. The traditional way is to tune your A first by using your tuning fork as a pitch reference. Actually, you'll be using it here in your ear. Next, tune down a major third to the low F. So one of your notes is an A. That note we just heard, it is in tune. So here's the A. And see, that's the same. Next, tune down a major third to the low F, then up an octave to the high F, and then finally, well, let's try that first. So this is an A, da da dum, la sol fa. So we go down to an F, then up an octave, fa fa, for that one, and we tune those next. Play them together to make sure they're harmonically in tune. And then finally, the C is a fifth above the low F, which is also a nice resonant interval. Fa, do. And actually, the C is present in this F as a harmonic. You can hear it if I sing the C here. Do, do. It's probably not coming through the mic, but it's singing out there. If you play them together, it's like a violinist tuning their strings that are a fifth apart. So now you have your F major chord. If you have not yet had the ear training required for that kind of tuning, you can use a chromatic tuning app on your phone to tune the drums, but that is a more time-consuming process. Do not simply trust the tuning gauges on the drums if they have them, because they are likely not very accurate, and you risk playing out of tune for the whole etude and making the audition jury cringe. If the drums are already tuned when you enter the room to audition, you should check them nonetheless. Mallets. Since this etude has significant rhythmic articulation, you should use staccato mallets. Something like the Vic Firth T3 model would work well. I'm using the Tim Gennis Hard Tonal Gen 6 in this, which are also staccato mallets. Sometimes timpanists change mallets for contrasting articulations, but there is no need nor time to do that in this etude. So the same pair is used throughout. Sticking. As much as possible, you want to play a low note with the left hand and a high note with the right hand. The middle drums can be played with either hand, left or right, or left or right. So let's see how this plays out. In the first few measures, a right hand start for each figure works out beautifully. Right, left, right, left, right, left. That's right hand leading for the first 3 measures. The first sticking issue shows up in the first 3/8 measure. You could either play it left, right, crossing the right over the left, or you could play it right, left, right, which is the way I choose to do it. But either way is correct, and you can use the one that flows the best for you. Now the next line is an exact inversion of the first line, and so the sticking is exactly the opposite. That is, leading with the left hand. And it's piano, of course. And there I'm doing my double, the opposite of what I did before, but you could play. All right? So just think about your sticking options there. In the 5/8 measure in the third line, you definitely want to double the repeated C's with the left hand, allowing the right hand to execute the accented high F's consistently. In the fourth line, the low F roll ties once to the C and once to the high F. Since the timpani are so resonant, one does not have to tie a roll the same way as you do on the snare drum. You can give yourself a little extra time to get the right hand from the roll up to the landing note, like this. Plenty of time, but make sure you land on time on the landing note. Muffling. When to muffle or not often depends on the ensemble context. One only needs to muffle when one needs to stop the sound of the vibrating timpani head before it decays naturally. It is questionable as to whether there is any need for muffling in this etude, but there are a few spots where it might be used. After the forte high F at the end of the first line, you might need to muffle quickly, touching the head to quiet it down so that the piano low F in the next measure can be clearly heard. That goes like this. I'll just play the forte in the measure before, without, then with, then without again. Here's without muffling. And now with muffling. And without. So I prefer it without muffling. I think you can still hear the entrance. If you couldn't hear the entrance at all, then maybe that muffle should go in there. The problem is that muffling also makes some kind of sound that's not written. I know it doesn't carry out to the audience, so it's not an issue, but in an audition situation, the judges will probably hear it. Then the first and fourth measures of the fourth line have figures that might musically benefit from muffling. Those are measures that have these accented figures. Okay, so I like the muffles there, and so I do it. Dynamics. Follow the dynamic markings meticulously. This will require just as much practice as the rhythms and the stickings. Playing the dynamics with clear intent is a sign of good musicianship. So make them clearly discernible. On timpani, it's pretty easy because there's a big range of dynamics. from very soft to very loud. Take advantage of the huge dynamic range. Tempo. The Étude is marked allegro all the way through, except for the last two measures that have a molto ritardando, along with a crescendo from piano to forte. You should make this a big, dramatic ritardando. That is what the word molto is trying to tell you.